Welcome to the Maura Sweeney Podcast. Maura is an international speaker and the trademark ambassador of happiness with a passion for personal responsibility. She weaves insightful questions with personal stories to challenge your mindsets and empower your best and happiest self from the inside out. Here's Maura with today's podcast for you.
Are you color or character minded? Well, if you're on a path to living happy from the inside out, today's podcast is for you. Are you color or character minded? This is the second installment that has to do with racism. As much as I don't like the word, and probably if you're a regular visitor to my podcasts, or if you're a regular reader, you most likely feel the same way. There's something inherent in the very idea of racism that goes against our internal happiness. In fact, as I said in my previous podcast, why am I covering it? Because racism is an impediment to our ability to live happy from the inside out, to feel peace from the inside out. And as we go in today's podcast, I'm going to explain to you why. It's because our inner man, our soul, knows better. Our soul knows not to judge by color or by race, but by character. So what exactly is character? Well, character has everything to do with a person's moral or ethical qualities. Think about that. They're moral and ethical qualities. Now, if that's the case, and if that's the measuring tool of how we would like to judge others, or let's say have people judge us, what then does character, in terms of ethics and morals, have to do with our color or our race? Now, I want to make you think a little bit further, and some of you listening may say, Maura, you're right on. Others of you listening today may say, oh, I don't like it. You may get angry. You may feel like your feathers are getting ruffled. And don't worry, because I have found myself over the course of my lifetime also being challenged when I would get a certain question posed my way. And the reason why it would upset me is because there was something in the question that was playing against my acquired belief system. And whenever that happens, I would just allow the question to go right through me to say, what do I think about that? Why am I a little bit unnerved? What is it here that I'm believing in that's not really resonating with me, that's causing me to get upset? Frankly, no question at all should ever worry us if we are people of integrity, of character, and people who really enjoy knowing and living in the truth. Because really that's the place that we do find our peace and our happiness. Let me ask you this. Have you ever looked back in your life? Look at kids you went to school with who looked like you. Were there people in class that you said, oh, I really like these kids. They're my best friends. I love them. I love being around them. They're fun. They're nice. I trust them. They mean well toward me, not evil. Now, I want you to think about the same kids you went to school with. Maybe same classroom. Maybe these kids looked exactly like you did. Can you think of anybody there that you'd say, ooh, I want to stay away from that person. That person's trouble. That person, I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw them. Or how about this? That person really stabbed me in the back. Now, did that have anything to do with their color? Did it have anything to do with their race? Most likely not. Let's take that question and go with it a little bit further. Let's talk about your neighborhood. Do you remember people in your neighborhood, maybe your current neighborhood, that look like you, that you like a lot, and other people that look like you? Again, you want to steer clear of these people because there's nothing about them that resonates rightly with you. They don't make you happy. They don't make you feel good. They may be negative, troublemakers, whatever it is. How about people in your work environment? People that look just like you. Are there some people you like more than others? Some people you trust more than others? Some people whose character stands out well above others? That's what truth is. When we live in the world, when we experience our lives bumping up against the lives of other people, we come to the realization, truly, that the exterior has very little to do with a person's content of their character, their behaviors, the ways in which they react, respond, their motivations, the words that come out of their mouth, the things they say in front of people, the things they do with people behind their backs. So that's something you already know. And oftentimes we learn these lessons because we believed wrongly. And then all of a sudden we get hit and we think, oh boy, did I just learn a lesson about humanity? I want to even take it further. Have you ever had someone in your own extended family? Some people, some family members, they're great. You want to be around them, good energy. And then other people, you think, oh my gosh, either they're major downers or these are people that, hey, they may have the same last name as you, but you wouldn't trust them as far as you could throw them because maybe they wanted money or they wanted power and they would easily backstab. Some families, they murder each other. You could even look into the royal families and their histories, and you'll find people from the same family line, good and not good, well-meaning and evil-intentioned. That's why I asked you at the beginning of this podcast, are you color or character-minded? And you could exchange the word color for anything you please. You know, in every one of my podcasts, I managed to share some stories from my life, sometimes stories from others. I want to give you 2 stories of color from my life. In this case, they would have been known years ago as colored people or people of black skin. The first one happened to be the first black person I ever lived with. Her name was Agatha Lewis, and she had come from the island of Trinidad to live with our family when I was in 4th grade, maybe 5th grade, and she was a live-in housekeeper. Now, did I know anything else about black people? Did I even think about black people? Not really, but here she came into our home, and I want you to know, if you were to look at her color, she was probably one of the darkest individuals I had ever seen. Her skin color was very, very dark brown to black. But did I ever judge her for her color? Not at all. The only way I knew Agatha, and think about this from a child's mind, I knew Agatha because Agatha had one of the most beautiful spirits I had ever encountered in my life. To this day, Agatha exuded love. She exuded kindness, gentleness, dignity, and peace. She was a Christian woman, Seventh-day Adventist, who would take her Sabbath every Friday to Saturday. And oftentimes, if she didn't go to Brooklyn to spend time with her family and go to church, she would stay in her room, and I would listen to her, and she would hum and sing praises to God. The woman brought such a sense of peace to our home that I can't tell you, she was an absolute blessing. I later learned when my family invited her family over one summer day to swim in our pool that her grown son was a medical doctor in Brooklyn, married with a couple of children who I also got a chance to know. Within maybe 2 years, Agatha left us because she wanted to go back to school and become a baby nurse. That was our loss to our family, and in particular to what that woman brought to my life. But I remember thinking this, wow, whatever baby she gets to hold will be so blessed in their lives. Did that have anything to do with her color? Absolutely not. It had everything to do with Agatha Lewis's character. I want to give you a second story regarding color, which took place when I was about 19 years old. And it was a taxi driver, again, a man of color. He was a lighter color than Agatha, but not that that mattered. I had jumped in his taxi after returning back to school up in Boston, and I had a 10 or 15-minute taxi drive ahead of me to get me to my college campus. As it turns out, the taxi driver didn't take me on the 10 or 15 minute drive. He kept driving elsewhere. I remember asking him why the streets didn't look like the way back, and he said he was taking a few detours due to traffic, which I couldn't see. It was already nighttime. The man had me in his car for 1.5 hours. He started asking me questions about whether or not I had a boyfriend, and started going into very odd questions, one of which was, "Do you like trees?" When I asked him to stop the car so I could get out, he refused. Fortunately, when he was ready to get off the highway on Route 128 at an exit, he needed to stop and pay a toll, and I was able to jump out of the car. I ended up pressing charges, and the Boston police detective who took my case said to me one day, "Do you know, miss, I was very surprised you didn't mention the man's color." And I said, "Well, why is that? I gave you the man's name." And he said, "Well, I don't know, because he was a man of color. He had dark skin." And I said to the detective, "What does his skin color have to do with the man's intentions?" I said, "That man would have raped me at the very least." And I said, "At the very worst, I might have been left murdered somewhere." Surprisingly, the detective never pressed charges against the man. And I will tell you something. I remember feeling so shocked, disappointed, and I remember saying to the detective, that man one day could end up killing another woman. I said, I was very lucky, but if you give this man another chance without so much as a slap on the wrist or stopping him from engaging in this kind of practice where he could get a woman in the car and take them to who knows where, I said, that will be on you. And so what did that have to do with that man's color? Not a thing. I invite you to think about whether or not you are color or character minded. You know, I oftentimes use visuals when I go out and speak, whether it's here in the U.S. and very often overseas, many times to university students. And I will show them images of places like the United Nations, or in my case, where I had done a video in front of the Peace Palace in The Hague, in the Netherlands. These are institutions set up, presumably, to establish peace in the world, to establish good relations among men, good relations among the various sectors of humanity. We have lots of money put toward these establishments, these institutions. We install leaders. We create various laws and initiatives. And do you know what I always ask everyone? What if instead of looking to institutions, looking to leaders, looking to legislation, and looking to more money and funds being spent on initiatives for the very things you think you want in the world, why not become an institution in and of your own right? Why not choose those characteristics that you believe in so strongly that you want other people to see and respect and honor and emulate in this world? Why not be the institution, the living institution, wherever you are, wherever you go, and wherever you be? And you know the interesting thing? Just about everybody understands it and they agree with it. You know why? It's because it's the truth. We are not to be color-minded. We are to be character-minded. But more than trying to find faults with other people, we need to start by showing forth our great character. Because one great character, like in my case, Agatha Lewis, can change a nation, let alone one small life. What I'd like to do today is offer anyone who's listening and who likes this kind of information to write to me, Maura at mauraforyou.com, and ask me for a free copy of my book on values. I think you'll appreciate it. My favorite value, you'll learn about it when you read the book. It's a short read, but it's designed to help you go within to find out what values, what character within you and others is important for you to feel happy from the inside out and to be a conduit and a catalyst for the very world and society you wish to see around you. Until next time, this has been Maura with More For You.
For more insights on living happy from the inside out, subscribe to this podcast. To learn more about Maura, visit her moraforyou.com website, where you'll find videos, blogs, books, and the Foundations of Happiness self-study e-course. Maura, 4, letter U.com, where Maura is always for you.